Welcome back, YouTubers, to another British Fist Wrestling rundown on this Friday evening with us, the British Fist. Ka-ching! Ka-ching indeed, that's where the money's at. NJ, I'm Mr. Parkin. This guy sitting next to me is none other than NJ, people. What's up? And that is what he does best, people. But anyway, subscribe to us if you will, like this video, and comment any thoughts on some of this stuff we're going to talk about in this video down in the comment section below. Boy, have we got a lot to talk about in this video.
I feel this could be a pretty big video to the big points, especially building up to WrestleMania, but please make sure you contact us in the link in the description box below.
And no doubt, going into WrestleMania, there are going to be a lot of things to talk about, which we're going to be using this video for. So much to talk about in this video. We're going to talk about a little bit about Jack Swagger, a lot of tag team related stuff, building into next week's Raw, and more importantly, we're going to look at what Taker might be doing at this year's WrestleMania, or might not be doing. So there's plenty to talk about here. Please get your thoughts on all this in the comment section below.
And the big point I want to quickly say is please make a video response to any of these big points we're talking about tonight.
Indeed, and the first thing we're going to address is Jack Swagger's new character and what we think about it, and then his arrest earlier this week after driving home from a SmackDown taping. So before we move on to the big story of Jack Swagger being arrested, we just want to give our thoughts quickly on the new character that Jack Swagger has been given. He was off TV for 5 months, and they gave him this new, like, right-wing character as a guy that's against immigration. We are the people. Just give me your quick thoughts on Jack Swagger's character change.
Straight away, if this is going to be a character change, after what he's done, we'll see how long the character lasts. It's about this, it's just... At first, I didn't like Jack Swagger. I didn't really see much in him, but SmackDown did. Right now with this character, I'm not... Maybe the idea behind it, the country stuff and all that stuff, but I really don't care about Jack Swagger. This character is not even working for me very well, so I'm not behind this.
I really like this new Jack Swagger character. I think, to be honest, it's something very cultural. I know that's pretty much a buzzword when we're talking about me and Jack Swagger and this new character. But, you know, WWE have never really done anything like this before. It is relevant to American culture with the whole, you know, right-wing culture. We don't want immigrants in there, blah, 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 blah. And to be honest with you, when I look at Jack Swagger, like I said, when he returned, I didn't really care about him that much. Then they gave him Zeb Coulter. And then I heard Zeb Coulter talk. And then I still didn't really care all that much about Jack Swagger. But then when he won at Elimination Chamber, and I realized he was going to be facing Del Rio, it kind of clicked with me. It's kind of clicked as to how this character would actually work against Del Rio, and then I thought to myself, well, let's see what they can do with this. Let's see how far they go with this, because this could be a pretty edgy and interesting storyline with the new Jack Swagger character, especially with Zeb Coulter in there.
My big problem with this is that when it comes to building up characters like Ryback in the past and now Swagger, you want to give them time to make their return, make an impact, get a fan base, either fans or haters and stuff like that. And the fact that he's came back, earned a spot in the chamber somehow, won the chamber, and now he's going to WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight Championship. I really don't believe that Swagger's done anything to really deserve this, or for fans to actually get behind this match, want to see this match. So I think the WWE, just like Ryback, have really rushed this.
Yeah, and there are a lot of things. I mean, I do agree they probably rushed this a little bit, but we can't argue that the character there is strong enough to deserve a WrestleMania match against Alberto. And I say this about Jack Swagger. Now, I've never seen him really show that much charisma or really talk that much, but now you've at least given him a mouthpiece, which, let's face it, he desperately needed. You've given him a unique gimmick which makes him stand out. He is 6'7", 260 pounds, so in my opinion, you give him this unique gimmick, you give him this mouthpiece, he feels a lot more like a big deal, and I'm actually interested to see not just what they're going to do with the storyline, but how far they're actually going to go with it, as I really feel it could resonate with the audience here.
I feel with especially what's happened, which we're going to go into in a minute, and plus the people that probably don't care about Swagger, I don't see this being anything huge. Maybe for up to WrestleMania, but I don't see this being so that fans can get behind.
Could be one of the better stories going into WrestleMania, in my opinion. But let's get to the news story. Jack Swagger's arrest. Now, this has been major news throughout pretty much the whole week. After the SmackDown taping, Swagger was pulled over by the police and charged with driving under the influence, speeding, and possession of marijuana. You've got to feel that a lot of people have talked about this. You've got to feel this will mean now that Jack Swagger's push may be over, even though WWE haven't really confirmed this yet. There are rumors that apparently they're thinking of something else. We've got a quote here from NoDQ.com. No word yet on what is arrest means for booking plans. The WWE creative were working late on Wednesday night to come up with ideas, which doesn't sound good for Swagger and Zeb Coulter. What do you think they're going to be doing now that Jack Swagger's been arrested?
Straight away, I think they're going to continue. They probably won't let him off. I think it'll make it look like he's going in a good direction. He'll go to WrestleMania. There's 2 ideas at WrestleMania, but my prediction, he'll go there, probably beat Del Rio, thinking, oh, for flip's sake, why? And then all of a sudden, Ziggler will cash in and take away his push and everything there.
Yeah, I'm really not sure. I'm not 100% on what the WWE's accordance with this kind of thing is. So I don't really know what they're going to do and whether they're going to suspend him, whether they're going to keep him there on the road to WrestleMania. Because they do, let's face it, they do have a strong storyline here. So will this influence WWE to actually keep him around? Like I said, we don't really know. We can only really speculate. But it does seem to me that after this arrest, this big push that Swagger was on, it's probably now going to get decreased quite a lot now, especially because WWE don't really take to this kind of stuff very well. And who can really blame them if one of your top stars is being caught, driving under influence, speeding, and in possession of marijuana?
The other quick ways I was going to quickly run down was like the Ziggler cashing in, the fact that he did a roll up to Orton in the chamber. Maybe they're going to have a match where he's got to face Orton win, then he goes to WrestleMania.
They had that match on SmackDown. I believe Swagger beat Randy Orton.
They could do it again to get rid of this punishment, or the third way is just that Del Rio wins and Swagger just goes off. I don't know, but I think this is definitely going to hit back.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what WWE actually do with this now, whether they go forward with this storyline. I guess we'll find out on either Raw or SmackDown what they do with it. So, yeah, let's... It'd be interesting to hear your thoughts on Jack Swagger's arrest, where you feel this leaves Jack Swagger. Give us a video response as well if you would like. Just be interesting to hear your thoughts on Swagger's new character and the news that he's been arrested. You would have thought, since Cody Rhodes and Damien Sandow broke up as a tag team, that WWE would actually have some plans for them. And since they broke up, it really doesn't seem like they have, which is a real shame when you have 2 potentially top heels on SmackDown there in Damien Sandow and Cody Rhodes. What was WWE's thinking here? Break them up as a tag team where they had some direction and, now just have nothing for them? I just don't get the logic here.
Team Rhodes Scholars were the tag team that I thought were going to go on to WrestleMania and be the tag team champions, which would have been great for them, especially with them being future stars. But for them to decide it's best to break them up, then they still went on that bit of a losing thing. Didn't really look like they were going to go anywhere. So to be honest, the tag team would have been the best option, especially until after WrestleMania, bless you. But I really think the WWE don't know how to push guys who probably deserve it.
Well, it just really strikes me as baffling as you break these 2 guys up. You'd think they'd have some direction with them going into the biggest pay-per-view of the year, but they've just been doing job after job, and they've been continuing other storylines. You would have thought that it would have been better to break up Kane and Daniel Bryan if they were going to have a feud going into WrestleMania, which they're teasing, allowing Rhodes and Sandow to hold those belts. So I'm just really confused as to what WWE are doing with 2 potential stars. I just really have no idea as to the logic that WWE are actually thinking here.
And if any of you viewers have an idea of what's to come or what you would like to see happen to these 2, please tell us in the comment section below.
So we have 2 new tag teams on the horizon. We have Tensei and Brodus Clay, the dancing hippos, so to speak. Do you think that maybe, just maybe, they might be building these guys to be the next tag champions after Daniel Bryan and Kane? Because I think even though the IWC and a lot of people probably won't like this tag team, me slightly included in that group, I can see why that tag team might appeal to more casual audiences.
Out of these, like Team Rhodes Scholars deserved it more, who I would want to see as tag champs, but this tag team, the fact that they both came in with characters that looked strong and had some kind of direction, they both failed. I guess a tag team would be the way to go. Going on to Mania of all to become tag team champions, I really don't like this idea, but I guess with WWE being all kiddie friendly, I guess it's good for them.
Well, I doubt that there'll be tag champs at WrestleMania, considering Kane and Daniel Bryan are in a storyline right now, unless they break up at that point, in which case they probably could give Tensei and Brodus the tag champs. I can't help but think that you have 2 very large-sized guys there that the casual fans may find entertaining. And, you know, I think it wouldn't be a bad decision to give them the belts personally. And I think, to be honest, it's good that they've given Brodus, Clay, and Tensei at least something that gets them on TV every week that didn't involve them jobbing. So I'm not a massive fan of this tag team, but I am a fan of the fact that it gets Tensei more relevant and Brodus, Clay a lot more relevant than they were before.
And before we move on to the next tag team, the thing about this is that other WWE coming, or struggling, shall I say, kind of good tag team names. We've had DX, Evolution, NWO, and all that. Now we're getting Team Rhodes, guys, Team Hell No, and Dancing Hippos.
Well, I don't know if that's their tag team name, but I don't know what their tag team name is. But Truth Boom are back. I don't know whether that is their tag team name either, but they came back on this week's edition of Raw. Don't know why, but it's a tag team, I guess.
As much as we do need more tag teams in, especially to make big matches happen, tournaments happen, stuff like that, we had our Kofi Kingston go on a singles push, you know,
job,
and then he comes back into a tag team. I'm like, okay, you could have possibly brought R-Truth back as a heel, gone something great with him again. Kofi Kingston, as people say, he's mid-card. As much as we do need more tag teams, I think maybe bring them just for this purpose weren't the best idea.
I just wonder what direction they've got. I mean, let's face it, Kofi, again, was IC champion and then kept jobbing and is now a jobber, so I can say like him being in a tag team maybe could work, but I would just wonder what direction they've got with this tag team. Are they going to feud with Damien, Sandow and Cody Rhodes? Are they going to go back together as a tag team? You know, we don't really know what they're going to do, but you know, I really don't know what to think about this Kofi Truth tag team yet, as it's really only just been formed. But we've got two new tag teams there, well, pretty new tag teams there that you could consider part of the tag team division.
Possibly Team Rhodes Scholars, so the tag division's coming back, but do I agree with these newish tag teams or tag teams they're bringing back? No.
So we feel next week's Raw is going to be very important in determining what is going to be happening at WrestleMania. I mean, you look at it, they've got Paul Heyman versus Vince McMahon, which you assume is going to forward on a Brock Lesnar Triple H 2 storyline. You've got Cena versus CM Punk, which is going to determine what's going to be happening with the WWE Championship. And if you think about it, that would be the first week where WWE has had all its big names on one show. I mean, we haven't had Brock Lesnar. We didn't have Brock Lesnar on last week's show. We didn't really have that much direction as to what's going to happen at WrestleMania apart from the World Heavyweight Championship match. So hopefully next week, given what we've got, we feel it could be a pretty big Raw, especially considering it's been built up to from last week, which WWE never usually do, going into determining what's going to happen exactly at WrestleMania in 6-7 weeks' time.
I feel that WWE are doing a good job trying to pace each week, building up to WrestleMania. They've hyped up the next week where we're going to have these big matches and big build. We're going to have the great WWE Championship tease that we're wanting to see happening at WrestleMania. We've got the Brock Lesnar and Triple H, and I'm looking forward to how they're doing this, because it's all about not the predictability of stuff, but how they present it on the show.
Indeed, and really, this will be the first week where we get all the big names on one show, and I'm just looking forward to WWE giving us some direction as to what the bigger matches are going to be at WrestleMania, because even though they are kind of predictable, you know, in the sense that we're probably going to get Triple H and Brock Lesnar, hopefully we'll get some direction as to what we're going to be getting at WrestleMania next week on Raw. That seems to me to be the theme of next week's Raw. We've got Paul Heyman versus Vince McMahon. We've also got Cena versus Punk. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen there with regards forwarding on the WWE Championship?
WWE Championship. I guess the fans are reacting positively to a possible triple threat. Hence, how they set up quite nicely this week. So I think, to be honest, they should do what they can to continue doing that, continue teasing it, continue giving it to us, or eventually make somehow the match end screwy, either by Heyman or just subtle Rock, or just something so we get a triple threat, because The Rock never said who he wants to face, so I think a triple threat, especially after that tease, would be a really good way to go.
I still think they're going to do Rock Cena. I really do. I still think they're going to be doing that match, which, yes, I know a lot of people in the YWC hate. I'm not going to deny that. I can't help but think that they're going to have John Cena overcome CM Punk, who he's never beaten before, and then he's going to go on to WrestleMania to overcome The Rock in this silly redemption storyline. That's what I feel is going to happen. But I also feel that what happens here could very much be determined on a certain dead man's return. So one of the big questions we've got going into Raw is with regards to a certain dead man that generally comes back to WrestleMania, usually once a year now, to defend his streak. Do you think that Undertaker is going to be at Raw, is going to be part of WrestleMania? Because that is going to be one of the big questions going forward, and I believe that's one of the reasons why they delayed that, determining who's going to be facing The Rock at WrestleMania, to give it another week to see what Taker's health is going to be like.
I personally, this is the way I'm thinking about it. Number one is I think they may go down the video package route, hype him up to come back at WrestleMania. I don't believe he's going to be on next week Raw. The way I see it, it's going to be hard for the WWE to top end of an era storyline. Even if they face Punk, Cena, Vince McMahon, either one, it's going to be hard to top that. So for the WWE, the fact they've given us that big WrestleMania match and the build to it, I think if Taker's going to return, like you said, it should be probably to announce a retirement at WrestleMania. It
would be very tough, especially considering he's faced Shawn twice. He's now faced Triple H twice. You've had an end of an era match. Rumours are that he's not doing too well with regards to his health, so we don't really know. Really, I think it's more up to Undertaker as to what he does. But if WWE don't have CM Punk win that match against John Cena, then I fully expect them to be going ahead with a CM Punk and Undertaker match, which, I would actually prefer. I actually prefer that it would be Rock and Cena and Undertaker and Punk in two separate matches. That's my own personal opinion. There are many reasons for that. One of them being that I believe Taker could really benefit CM Punk in terms of a program. And if CM Punk is part of this whole Rock Cena thing, then he's going to be getting very overshadowed, because you really think WWE are going to want to concentrate on CM Punk in that, if they do a triple threat there.
Well, the way I see it is that Taker, especially with all his banged up stuff and he's not in great shape, going to get CM Punk. It's not really fair on Punk because Taker's not in the greatest shape. Not fair on Taker. Yes, he may want to keep wrestling, but again, it depends on Taker's health, which I really feel it's been shown many times he's not in the greatest shape, and the last year's build. I think, to be honest, as much as fans want to see Taker continue, I think in all fairness, Taker's given us 20 years of WrestleMania great matches. CM Punk's got more years ahead of him for big matches. I really believe that, to be fair to the last year's end of an era, big match, big storyline, it should just be it.
I guess we'll find out on this week's edition of Raw, next week's edition of Raw, and the road to WrestleMania as to what Undertaker's doing. But for right now, we can speculate as much as we like, and we'd invite you to give us your thoughts down in the comment section below on a possible Undertaker return and what he may do at WrestleMania.